been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump. Altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. SEC and its policies rely on whatever Gary thinks. Bitcoin's a flight to quality. I heard that from Larry Fink. Every hour losing purchasing power on food and shelter. It's not our fault. Blame the coal. It's the political cowards. When it comes to gas, our purchasing power just got cut in half. I sit back and laugh, open my bag, fill it with stacks and sats. Bitcoin, pumping. Altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality. We are hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin, pumping. Altcoins, pumping. I've been preparing for this.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as
Bitcoin, pumping. Altcoin, pumping.
we are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a
Can't nobody
flight to
tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pumping.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Prepare for this.
What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. We're seeing a little bit of a bounce right now, but is it going to be an actual follow through where this little dip is all we were going to see? Are we going to see higher prices bounce very ferociously out of this? Or is this just a little bit of a relief before we need to swing down a little bit lower? Let's dive right on into the charts today. We've got some signs and signals that we have to pay attention to, and a pretty big signal flashing for altcoins that might be signaling a major setup for a massive bounce in the altcoin market to move back to the upside. Today is Tuesday, May 6th. We have the FOMC meeting today, and tomorrow we get the details on the potential Fed interest rate cuts. Is it going to stay the same? Is it going to go up? What is going on with that? We get that detail tomorrow. So I'm still expecting a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of trepidation in the market as it stands. But when we look just at the chart for today, what do we see? We see this rising channel that this did break out bearish. It came back up, found a rejection right in the zone, and has come back down. We're getting a little bit more. If we get down here on the 15-minute chart, a nice bounce that we're seeing here, which for those of you that are trading smaller time frames, we saw a pretty clear signal, especially down here, let's say on the 3-minute chart, this descending lows here, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. Whereas we saw on the RSI, higher lows along the way, printing that bullish divergence, which got this bounce to the upside. But notice where this is finding some resistance. This did push up, but it's finding resistance just barely getting beyond these previous range highs right in here, but right in line with these lows, with this rejection here, with this bounce here, with this rejection. So there's a lot of sort of price memory across this zone, option J, right in here. We can actually kind of do a double here where you see price trapped here, this bounce here, rejections here, both rejection and bounces here. Same thing here, rejection right in here. We're coming right up into this zone. I'm curious. I have not looked yet. Option F, let's look at the Fibonacci, pull this down and notice that this came, yes, it did bounce beyond the golden pocket, but it's getting rejected below this 786, this platinum pocket, as Army Piper calls it. But seeing here, all of this to me right now is noise. All of this price action that we're seeing right in here is just noise, with the price action just trapping people in both directions. In fact, if we look at this on the liquidation heat map, and if you notice on the smaller time frame, we're kind of trapped between two liquidity zones on the price action right in here. This is what we're seeing, the 12-hour chart. A lot of people trying to go long, a lot of people trying to go short. No clear signal here because we have major economic data coming out tomorrow regarding the Fed interest rates. And more importantly than that, I think more likely than not, we're going to have a pause, a continued pause, no change. But we have to pay attention to that, the tone in the interview that's going to happen around, I think it's 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. But as we're looking at this, we realize that this is essentially a trap zone. But when we zoom back out and we look at the price action here, let's bring the signals back on the screen. This right here, this nice move up, the rising channel, We talked about this last week, a setup for the price action on Bitcoin to make a swing low, not only for this level that we have on the chart, but also the CME futures gap, which is right down in the zone. The bottom side of this being right about $91,800, $92,000. Now, when we actually look at the larger chart, not the CME futures, but the actual Bitcoin price action chart, we've got a couple key indicators of this rising level of support that's coming in through here, as well as these range tops right in here intersecting now right here about this $87,000 to $90,000 zone. It would not be out of context if this were to swing down to come down and tap this before moving up. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but we are prepared in the eventuality that it does, because not only do we have the CME futures gap directly below us here, notice this rising resistance level of these highs getting on this very small time frame, these highs getting higher highs along the way. And over that same time period, the RSI was telling us it was getting weaker. So it doesn't seem so out of context that the price action swang to the bottom side has lost it. And if this does just come and tap the CME futures, this is what I'd like. Of course, we all want to see the prices just going up, right? So if this does come down and tap this zone, I would be sort of satisfied with this finding support here and moving back up without ignoring the strong possibility that it's still in the charts for price action to come down and swing somewhere. Maybe it's even a quick wick on the chart where this comes down, taps, scary like that, comes back up, finds some support, and then blasts off to the upside. We're going to have to be paying attention to this over the coming week into next week to see how this plays out. The more bullish case would be for this to swing somewhere down in here, find some support, and blast off from this zone. But whichever direction it takes, we are prepared. We are ready to do it. Now, everybody is flowing in here. Again, welcome to the BitLab Academy channel. I've been doing double duty along with Drew from Blockchain Basement, co-hosting the Discover Crypto morning show because Deezy just got married. So he's out on his honeymoon right now. Josh was over at Token 2049 in Dubai. So Drew and I picked up the slack there and have been hosting that show in the morning. If this is your first time here on BitLab Academy, welcome to the family. We've been breaking these charts down on a daily basis for the better part of several years now and really been hitting some really great calls about targets and zones. So stick with us here. Hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, again, make sure you down here, make sure this says subscribed right there. Turn on your notifications. And if you'd like to help support the channel, hit that join button once you're subscribed. It's about $1.25 a week. If you're watching over on Rumble, shout out to you. We've been getting anywhere from 15,000 to 40,000 views a day over here on Rumble. We have a partnership with Rumble now where they have us as their featured content. So it's us, Blockchain Basement and Discover Crypto. Make sure if you are tuned in on Rumble, get active in the live chat. I can see your comments up here on my screen when you're live chatting. Also drop comments down below if you're watching later, but make sure you hit that following button, hit that thumbs up, show some love. And on that note, coming back over to the screen, we did not get to 40 retweets yesterday, so no giveaway today, but we can try again today, baby. We are live right now. We got about 7 retweets. I will live post this link both on YouTube and if you're on X, just make sure you exit out, hit that retweet and get back in there. If you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, here is the link for you in the live comments. Go and hit that retweet, hit that like button. Let's dive into what we got to dive into today because we're seeing some great charts, some great signals flashing for setups that we can be paying attention to so that we can take advantage of the market ahead of the curve. Because when we come here and we look at the market, it's just been dancing right at just above, right back below that $3 trillion market cap zone. Fear and greed is kind of neutral right now. There's a lot of hope for the stronger hands out there. Retail's still a little bit woozy about what's going on, but everything that we're seeing right now in this market, I see all this red, I'm seeing opportunity in this chart. So what are we going to do about it? Because when we come over to the charts and we realize, let me reload this page really quick just so it doesn't do it 7 times. When we look at the Bitcoin value map and we realize that this has not topped out until it's hit this upper band at any point in any of the historical cycles that we've had so far. If the price action just moonshot straight to the upside right now without any, it's just boom, rocket ship to the upside, this would represent about $160,000. But what you notice is, look at that. This did do that. It tapped it, came back, found support over on this, this yellow band right here, found support, came up, almost tapped it again, found support, and then had that triple tap all the way to the top side here, where this upper band curved to the upside on the way up. So even again, if we just moonshot up and it was the top and it crashes back down, that's $160,000 from here. Not to mention, if we get these continued buying pressure, scheduled buys coming in from the US government, from states here in the US, from other countries globally, from sovereign wealth funds, from what we're seeing with the massive appetite coming in from institutions stacking into the Bitcoin ETFs, I don't think we have any idea where this market's really even going. So we should count our lucky stars right now that when we look at the Bitcoin price and we see this incredible bullish structure over this last year and a half from back here, January 2023, beautiful structure, just rise, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation, retrace. We're in the middle of setting up that next leg to the upside right now. So the fact that this is giving us signals, especially with that bearish divergence here on the 12-hour or on the 8-hour, that we may come down, fill this CME futures gap. This is beautiful setup with everything that's coming on the horizon in the Bitcoin market. Not to mention, and we're going to be diving into altcoins here in a little bit. So everybody let me know the last 2 altcoins you bought. Drop a comment in the live chat right now in the comments. I can see you there. I forgot to press send this before. I just sent the link to that tweet. You could retweet on your X profile. And by retweeting, you get entered to win, by the way. That is this tweet right here that shows the live stream. And we got about 1,000 people watching right now on X. We've got, let's see, about 1,400 people watching between different platforms. And I know that's going to tick up. But hit that retweet, hit that like button. That's how you get entered to win. We'll randomly draw. Tomorrow, if this is over 40, we'll do a $100 giveaway. Appreciate all the love and support. And just remember, I know I've showed this a few times. Over 80% of every dollar that has ever existed was printed out of thin air in the last 5 years. And we are on schedule right now to look at what we're seeing on the global markets. Coming back over here to the dashboard, the global liquidity has been absolutely rocketing to the upside, breaking to new all-time highs, which has been a major front runner to Bitcoin exploding higher as well. Much like we saw right here in the FTX collapse, price action sideways. During the sideways action, we saw a massive uptick in the global liquidity, only to kick off a massive bull run from down here at 15,500, 15,700, all the way up to $109,000 so far. And this is with the liquidity having been choppy. So now we're starting to get more of that explosion. We're seeing signs and signals that we're about to get some massive money printing. And even if it's not just money printing, some deployment of capital back into the markets from the Fed. So let's go through some of these things that we're looking at because it is incredible. This is right here. I just actually shared this. I don't want to show the whole ad again. If you're watching Discover Crypto, you would have seen it. Coinbase out there talking about the massive money printing, the devaluing of your dollar, and why Bitcoin is so necessary. And just below this ad, the next tweet below that, the Fed just purchased $20 billion in 3-year bonds. Why does this matter? Because these are some of the different mechanisms that are used to get liquidity into the market. It's not just money printing that's devaluing, but it's also money on the balance sheet of the Fed, the reverse repo, what's going on with treasuries and bonds, and that capital getting deployed that basically finds its way into the risk assets out there that gives confidence for the market. So Stealth QE is essentially here. We have the FOMC meeting tomorrow, so let's pay attention to what's going on there. Crypto Crank says, what's up, homie? How you doing, my friend? Big love to you. I don't know why is my mouse not working? There it is. My thing was not working. I got you up there, baby. We got Music Tag says Arrow and Pinlink. I know a lot of people are very excited about Pinlink. Maybe we can take a look at that. D-Pin says Say. We got Aga Kapak also says Arrow. I'm very excited about Arrow as well. Probably won't see a strong alt season rally until Bitcoin dominance gets rejected at 70.55, says Freelance Fighting. Well, we'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance, but I also want to just take a look here. This is Binance, BNB. There's some news came out that there was a ETF application put in for Binance, for BNB coin. And when we look at this, zoomed out on the chart, let me double click there. I mean, look at this large swing to the upside. massive swing to the downside, back up. This has not yet really been set free, much like we've seen with most altcoins. But the beautiful thing about this is this has a basically falling, broadening wedge. See how this is getting thicker each time, or wider each time, coming right back up to the same level of resistance. We're hovering right at it right now, looking very much like it's trying to coil up for that next bullish explosive move to the upside. You see this resistance? It's being held right here on the most bullish pullback zone, on this zone right here at the 382, the Fibonacci 382, which is basically what that means. It's a 38.2% retrace from this move. And these fibs, Fibonacci was a famous mathematician from hundreds of years ago. But what he identified was basically the math, the architecture of everything in nature. From how trees organize themselves in forest, to how flower petals on a flower all so perfectly symmetrically print themselves out. When you see a nautilus shell, do you guys know what a nautilus shell? This all ties back to trading. How do you spell nautilus? I don't know how to spell nautilus. Nautilus. Is it going to search? Come on, internet, work with me. Okay, I guess the internet's not working. Okay, there we go. So here we go. Nautilus shell symmetry. I'm just spelling quickly here. So when we see this, this is what Fibonacci sequences are based on. It's perfect symmetry, getting expansions that are perfectly symmetrical on the way up. Now, why does that matter? Because when we're looking at charts, you're using the Fibonacci algorithm, the Fibonacci sequence, which are different metrics of 382, 618, which is a golden ratio, 786, and there's a number of other ones as well. These are the ones that I primarily use. And this is basically helps you organize and predict different levels on a chart that price action will likely hope and fear. And so when you see the price action like this pull back, boom, it bounced this large bullish candle up, and then it gets shot back down by the bears. Now we're getting the basically spinning top right here, meaning it's a very neutral between bullish and bearish sentiment. And now we're getting this candle getting dropped a little bit, but still kind of neutral. And now look, large swing to the downside. Bulls ate this back up. This is really looking like it's coiling up for that next move to the upside. Of course, this is a 3-day chart. What does it look like on a smaller chart? Okay, smaller chart. Now you get to see in better resolution what is going on here. So we have little bears attempt, bulls bring it back up. Bears getting weak. Bears really attempt, bulls bring it right back up. Now bears are weak again. In fact, we have a bit of an inverted head and shoulders here with the shoulder, the larger head, and the shoulder, showing that this really is coiling up to try to make that move. Will it happen? I don't know. But when we look at the broader altcoin market, this is what's exciting, everybody. Let's zoom out here. How many of you have most of your portfolio in alts? Now, I'm not gonna say you're right, wrong, this or that, but I do know a lot of people are disproportionately have a heavier amount of alts in their portfolio, a larger weighted portfolio in alts. If that's the case, then this will be very interesting to you. Very important. This is the others chart. Others is essentially when we're looking at the coin market cap rankings, all of these coins, it's eliminating everything in this top 10. Now it's every other coin. And you're looking at an index of that. And this index, essentially the health of the altcoin market, shows that we did have a bit of a downtrend in a falling channel that has now started to reverse course with a rounding bottom, as you see right here, where we also have an inverted head and shoulders, suggesting that this is setting up, the alts in general are setting up for a pretty large move if this were to play out. That's a pretty explosive move, and that would be about a 45% move to the upside. That doesn't mean only 45% for those alts. That means some of those alts will do nothing, but other alts will do 400%. Some will do 10%. It's an index of all of those alts outside of the top 10. But the prevailing thing that we need to pay attention to is the sentiment in the altcoin market is showing that it is trying to signal that there is a likely reversal in place. Now, one of the things I want to point out here, those of you that have been watching BitLab Academy, those of you that are tuned in on a daily basis, and if you're new here, welcome to the family. One of the things is this right here. I painted this back here, probably in mid-April. about we're watching for a potential breakout, and we want to see, yes, even as a bull, we want to see the pullback and where the bulls come in and defend the zone. And in this case, this could not have happened more exact like I had drawn it on the chart. What do we get? We got the breakout. We have a confirmation move, meaning the price action coming back, finding support at a predicted level, or a level that you're expecting to hopefully see bulls come in. Currently, we're starting to see it, but it's not fully clear yet. We've gotten the move to the downside, but we need to start seeing candles like this. You see how this is a large move to the downside? Now we have more neutral candles, and then you get to move to the upside. Currently, we've gotten the move to the downside. We've got the bulls kind of fighting it to the upside, but there's a lot at play between now and tomorrow and the end of the week. We want to see how this plays out. If we come to a smaller time frame, the 2-hour chart, for instance, we can see a little bit more clarity. You got the move up, large move up, smaller move up. Now you have a lower high. So this was showing already the reversal in place for this retest to the downside. Now we have this downtrend. Great. We're not quite fully seeing the reversal yet. In fact, this may look like it may swing a little bit lower. And I would be super comfortable with this entire pattern here, even with this coming lower and coming down probably about as low, with a wick could still be included. The candle bodies here on the 8-hour or the 4-hour, the candle bodies maintaining above this zone here. So this would represent a pretty decently large pullback still in some of those alts that you're holding. The smaller the market cap, the bigger move to the downside, because they're going to be more volatile. There's going to be less liquidity. So if this is able to hold here or above, then we're going to start to see some pretty strong moves to the bullish price action in those alts. But when we look at the when we look at the broader market cap, I don't know what happened there. Somebody must have gotten on my other computer. There we go. Looking at total here, this is total, including Bitcoin, but we subtracted USDT and USDC. So I took the stable coins out of the picture. So we're really just looking at the alts. Looking at this also looks like it's trying to reverse, and it makes sense, right? Because the altcoins are going to kind of follow the direction of the risk narrative with Bitcoin. Everything feels like it's kind of waiting on that next jolt to the upside. We saw some positive words come out today regarding India and the trade deal with what's going on with the trade war, the tariffs, and all this sort of thing. But as bullish as we want to be, the setup is there. It's not fully confirmed yet. We're seeing the setup take place, but this can be invalidated if this were to drop further, we get another leg to the downside. So let's be still a little bit cautious. And we do have calls from CZ saying that he thinks this cycle we're going to get $500,000 to $1 million Bitcoin. Now, whether or not this happens in the next 12 months, or even 24 or 36 months, you have to realize how much this signals out to other people that don't look at charts at all. People that are on the fence, is a cycle top in? And they're seeing these commentary, from players out there about a $500,000 or $1 million Bitcoin. But you also have to understand, not everybody sees this. In fact, most people don't see this. We also have other people that are out there that are major players on the global finance stage, like people like Jim Cramer, who actually, for those of us that are paying attention, has been a beautiful inverse indicator. Jim Cramer says that there's no way Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million. In fact, it likely never will. $500,000, very unlikely. Then you have people like CZ, the former CEO but also founder of Binance. He's not on the world stage with, your mom and your aunt and your uncle. He's in our arena. We're seeing his call for a likely $500,000 to $1 million Bitcoin. At the end of the day, who gives a shit about what the predictions are? We see a never-ending onslaught, the dominoes falling of institutions, corporations, countries, sovereign wealth funds stacking into Bitcoin, and I'm talking multi-$100 billion in scheduled buys that are coming to Bitcoin in an asset, Bitcoin, that has a fixed total cap supply of 21 million. There's never been an asset like this in history that you could say that. Hundreds of billions of dollars coming in fact, trillions over the course of the next decade. Yet there's a total supply cap. They can't print more because there's more demand. My mom asked me, but Kelly, aren't you worried? What happens when all these tens of billions into the hundreds of billions of dollars of buying pressure comes in? How are they going to service it if they can't make more? That's the point. People cannot understand this asset because there is a fixed cap. Meanwhile, we go back to that chart from our money systems here in the US, and it's the world over, but 80% of every dollar that's ever been created was printed in the last 5 years. This is the mind frame people have. If more people want it, they'll make more. Not with Bitcoin, it is fixed. Now, beyond that, we talked about Binance. We also need to be aware that tomorrow, not only do we have the FOMC meeting, we also have the Ethereum upgrade. Petra is going live. And part of that is Coinbase is going to suspend Ethereum withdrawals for a period of time on the 7th right here. It's scheduled Wednesday 7th at 3:05 a.m. Pacific time. Petra, a highly anticipated Ethereum network upgrade, follows a series of earlier improvements under Ethereum's roadmap. So they're essentially just trying to upgrade some of the things that they're doing with the validators, with the performance, streamline user experiences, so on and so forth. But I'm just saying, be aware that there may be a little bit of a hiccup in the near term, especially with the FOMC meeting tomorrow and the upgrade. Some people de-risk in these situations. Other people slam in and take advantage of that price action if we do get that. And this is that other story we were talking about with Van Eck filing first US BNB ETF as altcoin ETF heats up. We're going to see more and more of this, especially with this new administration that we have. Now, I have this in case you guys wanted to look at this. You could take a screenshot. I don't want to go through all of the upgrades that are coming to the Ethereum Petra upgrade, but this is what's going on here. ETH staking, improved validator experience, enhanced data efficiency, smart account functionality, other improvements, including communication between execution and consensus layers, faster, cheaper transactions, improved user. Essentially, they're just upgrading. So you can search this if you want. What is Ethereum Petra upgrade? It'll give you all the breakdown there. Now, FOMC meeting tomorrow. There's still debate. Everything's going on. They have to cut the rates. Well, right now on Polymarkets and on the CME FedWatch tool is showing roughly about the same thing, 97 to 99% a chance of leaving no change. There's going to be no change tomorrow. Now, again, it's going to all come down to what is the discussion? What's the tone? What sort of questions are asked, and how does Jerome Powell answer on the FOMC meeting tomorrow on the press conference that happens afterwards? Now, beyond that, let's continue diving in because I want to get in some TA for some of these altcoins that you guys mentioned here in the live chat. Excuse me. Black Eye says, Kelly, always dropping alpha. Man, I'm just lucky that I get to do this every day, be here with all of you on a daily basis, break down the charts, look at the data points, not just excitement, hope, fear, bombastic, hyper exaggerated price points just to get people. No, we break down the real ingredients of trades and what signals that we're looking at. And it doesn't matter what the bias is. We have to look at bias in both directions because a price action tries to do everything it can to absolutely chop people out of these markets. Now, this is looking, let's go ahead and delete this just so we got some clearer charts here. I'd actually love if Bitcoin's price came down here into the $87,000 to $90,000 region. I think it's less likely to happen. People are aware of the bullishness that is looking forward, the forward outlook that's going into the rest of this year and into 2026. So I'm looking for, more likely than not, that price action to test somewhere in this zone here, basically the low 93s down to about 91.3, this sort of zone. We'll call it 91.8, just as a regional point to look at. But when we're looking at other things and we look at like ETH to Bitcoin, it's still just feeling like it's struggling, but this is kind of the biggest shelf that it's made in quite some time right here. This flat shelf. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when FTX collapsed and then you had the sideways action before the price action resolved to the upside. I got the hiccups for some reason. Sorry about that. We got the RSI trending up here while the price action is flat. We do have a small break of trend on the RSI, however, which is right here where this has broken back down. Look at this, just got back over the 50 mark, got rejected back down. I do think ETH is going to make a move at some point. But how many people have been holding ETH for a long time and they're just like, what in the living heck is going on? It is feeling like that. Sometimes it gets hardest before the biggest move. Now, will ETH run in ways that you're expecting like other altcoins? I think it's still going to have a good run. But remember, Ethereum is also the second largest market cap up here at $213 billion. XRP is the next largest one. Of course, Tether, the stablecoin, is 149 billion, but the next actual altcoin is 123 billion. Do you all think, let me ask you, do you think XRP will flip Ethereum in this market cycle over the next 24 months? Let me know in the comments. Do you think XRP is going to flip Ethereum? I think there's a chance. I think there's a good possibility. I'd put it at about a 50-50 rate possibility. And the reason why that's important, much like we were talking the other day, I think it was with Matthew Hyland, is that there is a chance that maybe ETH isn't the thing that has to run before we get the alt season. Maybe it's a combination of XRP and BNB or XRP and Solana, seeing these other pretty large market caps, but excessively a lot smaller than what we're seeing Ethereum. And see, XRP is 123 billion. The next coin is BNB, 84 billion. Then you got Solana, 73 billion. Then Dogecoin at $24 billion, still in Dogecoin. But I still think Ethereum's going to have its run. So let's get back over here, and we're looking at ETH to Bitcoin, but let's look at ETH to USD. What we're seeing here kind of looks a little bit like a Bart Simpson pattern or a kind of a triple top. This looks weak, and this looks like it does want to take a swing to the downside. It currently looks like it's kind of sitting on support right now. If this swings to the downside, it's not the end of the world. We'd like to see if this does swing to the downside, down into basically about 1,700, another 70 to $100 down, I think would be a good opportunity zone. The question is, and this is a risk consideration, there is an upgrade tomorrow. There can be issues that happen during upgrades. So now if you're not going to throw everything in, maybe if there's a dip over the next 2 days from the FOMC meeting, but also the Pectra upgrade, maybe you could take, a risked position there. But if it were me, I would sort of wait through tomorrow into the weekend to kind of see how it shakes out, to make sure that there's not any big issues, and then sort of place your bets there if that were to happen. But when we're looking over at the other coins, how many of you are holding Solana? Kamish said, I bought ETH in 2021, November. I'm still waiting. Yeah, man, I feel you, dude. It's been a long haul with that. I'm still waiting on Chainlink also. I mean, this had this long 500-day period right here where this just went sideways, and then, it was so exciting. And then it came right back. Actually, that's not the chart. There we are. Yeah. Double click here. There we go. This is what it was right here. Look at this. It just felt like it was never going to do anything. 527 days. And then we got a move, came back down. Got another move, came back down. I feel like this is kind of a forecast of it could get exciting. Not yet. I think when this actually breaks out, I see a Chainlink making some pretty big moves because of the type of partnerships that this has had, and not only crypto, not in the way so many different crypto projects out there use Chainlink and CCIP, but also the fact that this is bridging between Web 2. The old legacy internet before blockchain and data, and also Swift, and also DTCC. I think Chainlink is going to see some great price action once this gets released out of this massive accumulation into this giant symmetrical triangle. So we got to wait for it because it's coiling up. It's coiling up in this zone. And when we get that, this looks just like that others chart where you see this sort of inverse head and shoulders potentially forming here. And if this were the case, then I think that's going to be happening soon. And then we got Solana that went from $8 up about a 35x all the way from down here. Look at this. Boom. All the way down here in the low 8s, all the way up here. And if you measure that, massive move. Look at that. All the way up there, about 36x from that low. on a narrative basis. Remember, everybody thought that Solana was fully intertwined with everything that was going on with FTX, and it just turned out it was bad business practices and support from Sam Bankman-Fried that confused people, and then ultimately, boom, I mean, massive run that we saw there. And we're seeing a bit of a pullback now. Okay, great. Seeing a bit of a pullback, but it's maintaining strong narrative with VCs, strong narrative with institutional players, strong narrative with retail as well. And we see, it's broken out of this trend line, came back, found support, came right back up. But what line is that? Look at this: rejection, rejection, rejection. And look at this right now. It's kind of fighting with this potential rejection again. And if this does fail, it's just, I think, going to be a near-term thing. If this does break down a little bit lower into the orange box that we already have here, the 136, maybe 131, it's not the end of the world. In fact, we have this level of support all the way down here into about 116, which is this massive box that we've had outlined on here for some time. This would be the bullish pullback zone. And if this does come down here, I think this would be a great area to scoop up. It'd be like, oh, wait, I get this opportunity again. That would be great. Ondo also, it's had this beautiful falling channel that has this nice reversal, this rounding bottom that did, break to the upside. And where did it reject? Right where we've seen rejections and support for all the way back here since March of last year. And so where it's sitting right now, it's, for me, I might even have to scoop up some more Ondo here in a week or so. If this continues to have a little bit of a pullback, I'm still very bullish on this. But another coin, I'll give you guys the inside track because you guys are here. I did do a video yesterday for Discover Crypto that's going out this evening. And one of those coins, and I used to hold it, sold it because I was de-risking, consolidating my assets a little bit while we saw that big pullback, and that's Injective. Look at this setup on Injective. And Injective, some of the things they're doing, now you can buy Apple and Microsoft and Amazon stocks through the Injective DEX. And there's AI integrations with what they're doing in Injective, as well as being institutional liquidity. And I think Injective is going to do very well. And this is looking like a nice reversal pattern. This is the same thing like we saw in a lot of the other coins. Bit of a pullback here in formation. So as much as this feels like it's about to launch, I can't ignore because I see the inverse head and shoulder. I can't ignore what I'm seeing just with this zone right here. A nice move up. A, B, C, right? Move. Now we got an M formation with a break of this zone. As much as I think on the midterm to macro reversal, I do think that that's setting up. I think we may, and I'm aware of it, I think we may get another little bit of a move down. This is finding support perfectly right here on these previous range highs, range high, now range low. So if this is lost, I'd be watching for a move to about right down in here. I would say about 852, another 40 cents down or so. What would that move be? Let's look. This would be another about another 5 or 6% to the downside. But yeah, I think this is shaping up to have a really nice move. Aerodrome also nice move to the out, got the breakout, but it's over because it's pulling back. No, we want to see on moves to the upside. We want to see where the bulls come down. We already have some lines on the chart. This is kind of bounced here. It's looking a little weak. If this does reverse to the test a little lower, I'd be watching for a move down here in the low 50s, 52 cents down to about 51 cents. But feeling good. Render. This also has the double top formation. Look, I won't call it a shooting star, but the bullish attempt rejected by the bears. If this area is lost right here, I'd be looking for a move a little bit lower, about right here. Now, why right there? Because we have rejection. If you see over here, it's kind of bounces, rejection, a little bit of a bounce there, some chop around the zone support here. I'd be looking for that move on render down to about 388 if it's lost. Everything can change in every bit of your technical analysis between now and tomorrow night, depending on what happens with trade data news, the trade war news from India, from China, from what's going on in that regard, what's going on with the Fed, with the FOMC meeting decision tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and then the 2:30 p.m. Eastern time press conference. There's going to be chop involved in the price action for everything we're seeing on this market between now and tomorrow. Do not believe the initial move. Say this was tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. If you see a move down first, it will likely come back up, trap people both directions, come back, find an equilibrium before it makes a move based on that data that comes out. Similarly, you might see a spike setting up a bull trap, meaning what's a bull trap? Price goes up, it gets people very excited, they commit, they throw in their leverage longs, and then it reverses, trapping them in those positions. And then they either have to exit or they have to sell their position or they get liquidated. And then everybody goes, oh, well, okay. Oh, now we're going short. Bear trap comes back up, traps those people, forces those positions closed. And then you get this equilibrium before you have the move. There's going to be some chop between now and tomorrow evening. So be smart, trade smart. The bullishness of this market is only going to heat up going into the summer, going into fall. Now, does that mean it's only going up from here? No. Everything's on the line right now for which projects, which blockchain are going to get integrated into corporations, into institutional AI, how that's getting integrated. When you think about things like BitTensor Tau, and that's a decentralized AI development marketplace. And you have people like Barry Silbert that's involved there. And you have major players like Chamath Palihapitiya that's talked about BitTensor on the All In podcast. And you have things like Cardano, Avalanche, XRP, Solana, Link, all making major advancements in the ways they're getting integrated into not only governments, but also corporations. And the fact that we have a new crypto focused and crypto friendly administration in terms of the regulatory clarity and what's going forward right now is the time you should be finding out where to stack, not where to sell. Have your plan already outlined for where you're going to be taking profits for sure. Don't just have numbers on the screen, but I think we're going to see something like we've never seen in this market, and it's shaping up right now, and we still have opportunities, so take advantage of them while you can. I love you all. I appreciate you all so much. Make sure if you're watching on Rumble, you hit that following button right there. We started this account, I think, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. We are in partnership with Rumble, so they're pushing our content, feature content. I mean, look at this. It is truly remarkable. Look at this. I mean, almost 50,000 views, 20,000 views, 20,000, 15, 23. And this is because we are in partnership with Rumble. So shout out there. Make sure you're following. Also, if you're watching over here on X, big love to you. I appreciate you. Hit that retweet button right there. Look at that face. Hit that retweet button. Hit this like button. We will draw a $100 giveaway tomorrow if we get over 40 retweets. So go ahead and show some love there. And it really does. The easiest way you can help support what we're doing here, giving you all this free content on a daily basis. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure your notifications turned on. Hit that join button. It's $1.25 a week if you want to join us here as a member. Get your name with the badge here and also get access to the member stream content that we do. Big love to all of you. I appreciate you. That's all we got today. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Do we have any super chats? No super chats today already. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. Find some gratitude in your heart. If you're frustrated today, take a chill pill, take a breather. There's plenty to be grateful for. Your health, your wealth, remember, wealth a lot of times is just in your ability to choose what to do, right? We all have some level of agency and freedom, and we're drawing breath. The people that are in our lives, I know I'm thankful. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. With that being said, I will see you in the next one. Shout out to our channel partners, by the way, Bitcoin IRA, LBank, and Arculus. Head over to getarculus.com. Use code BitLab20 for 20% off your Arculus. Protect your crypto, protect your future. And with that being said, I love you guys. Adios.